I'm the color of the
there you go.
You ain't know the color of misconceptions. You ain't gotta listen to tell you how I win. We went through more trouble than others times 10. Ain't got to give you cool. I let it. That's not about you. Said to my friend. I'm not about rule, but I'm riding to the end. Down the shit. Hey, brothers, my friends. Said I love you. Yeah, I've been it. The name's kind of cool. You call me a lieutenant. Hey, like highs and lows, I strive to keep winning. But I'm not going to explode. Hey, and it's right in your face. It's right beyond limits. Let's go. I got wait for this. We need to buy all the price. So tonight, let's go. Then we work on the voice. That's my brothers, man. When I tell you, nobody. Y'all gonna get this story. I got to do the intro. We probably got some new people here, but it's not right. Yeah. Nobody knows. Nobody knows, man. Somebody knows the prophecy, man. Come on. Let the baby sing. Let the baby sing. Let the baby sing. Good night. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Woo! That's how we doing it. Hey, man, let me tell you something. That's my good brothers from the bottom of the map. Calico and Picasso. They got some new stuff coming on the way. But with that, let's get the show started. As a Moorish American, we always like to first and foremost rise. And everybody should try to raise their thoughts so they won't lower themselves to the standards of slander, lewdness, murder, theft, and anything that harms. So I'm going to raise my thoughts and give praise to the great God of the universe, who we in the Moorish Science Temple of America choose to call Allah. And Allah is just the causeless cause. And not just because he's so much more, but we say in the Moorish Science Temple of America, and I affirm that he's the causeless cause and the rootless root from which all things have grown. I give honor to Ali. See, people don't understand what a prophet is, obviously, because there's always been some confusion as to what Prophet Noble Drew Ali movement and his works was dedicated to. By the will of Allah, we're going to clear some of that up tonight. There's a lot of misconception out there. And y'all know here on Moorish World TV, I try my best to clear up some of the misconceptions so we can separate what is Moorish Science Temple. See, notice that I say, what is Moorish Science Temple? And what is not. See, a lot of people want to interpret the teachings of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, but I declare the teachings of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali was found where he left them, and that was in the temple. And so we have to clarify the teachings from a temple perspective, because that's what he founded by the will of Allah, and that's what he built. Period. Point. Bang, by the will of Allah. And I give honor to the prophet for that. I give honor to the brother Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey said one thing that sticks to me. I mean, it sticks to me like no other saying that I've ever heard. One amongst many, but this one really sticks to me. What a man has done, a man can do. You can't tell me what I can't do. And when we're talking about what a man has done, a man can do, we're talking about those who built the great kingdoms of the days of old. They've done it before, we can do it again. Those who took a stand and said, man, listen, we don't need to be living like this. Man, listen, our children deserve better than this. Those men and women that took a stand, hey, what they have done, we can do. We can come up out of this. So tonight on Moorish World TV, we're going to address some of the misunderstanding that has ran rampant. And when I say has ran rampant, is that it runs so rampant now due to the age of social media that anybody can Google the Moorish Science Temple of America and get some misleading information. I mean, sometimes to me, I like to say flat out lies. But do the people really know that it's a lie? Or are they lazy in their journalism? We'll let you decide, because the information is out there, but there's so much mess out there. Sometimes it is hard to filter through. But if you want your good dose of Moorish Science Temple of America teachings and philosophy of life, we try our best to put them on display right here on Moorish World TV. Let me say Ramadan Mubarak for all those Muslims and Muslims who are practicing Ramadan at this time. I want to say stay strong. Your brother Tahaka, he get weak sometimes. Let me tell you something. I be working in that sun. Oh my goodness, that's not so. That's not so. Don't worry about that. Anyway, the problem is this. We got an issue. We got an issue. Somebody has made some statements saying that we stand for something that we do not stand for. First and foremost, let me bring in my brother Tunica L. Let me bring in my brother Tunica L. This is my good brother from, see my phone jumping. I'm gonna cut my phone off because Moorish World TV is more important right now than my phone call. It ain't mama, it ain't a law. Law is in this place to meet them in the heart, so I know it ain't law. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna cut my phone off. Give me a minute. Give me a second. Give me that. I'm important, people. Let me cut my phone off. I'm important. I do stuff. Good stuff. You know what I mean? I work a lot. I work a lot. Most Americans work a lot. We don't claim stuff ain't ours. Houses and all that. We don't do that. We don't do that. We don't do that. We don't do that. So I forgot how to cut my phone. There it is. I put on vibrate. All right. So yeah, I work a little bit. So my phone always jumps. Anyway, but with that, let me invite my brother, my good brother, to the kid. Y'all heard him on the song where it was Picture on the Wall, and he opened the screen up, and he began to sing, to harmonize with his own voice. Let's bring him in, my brother, to the kid. Islam more.
Islam Azam. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing well, my brother. I'm going to put my thing on mute because sometimes I got this new system and people be like, it got an echo. Yeah, I went out and bought some new system that I'm incapable of putting together. You know what I mean? So I got to call my man Norvar Thomas. And matter of fact, he a Mason, brother. You know, I do the show about the Masons, but he's a Mason to help me get my sound system together. So I want y'all to know I don't hate on no Masons. Anyway, that's not so. That's not so. That's not so. I'm doing well, my brother. Let me throw this on mute that you may introduce yourself, my brother.
Islam to your listeners. First, I give all praise due to Allah. I give the highest honors to his prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Honors to the forerunner of the prophet, Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Honors to the grand staff, supreme staff, local temples, members, sympathizers, all your listeners. To everyone I say Islam. I am Brother Lasana Tunica Il. Lasana Sundiata Tunica Il. A lot of people don't know about the Sundiata. As known as Lou T, the roughneck poet. And yeah, I just came in. It's been a minute since I vibed with your audience on Moorish World TV, so I'm definitely excited to be back. You know, we be grinding hard. You know, we're trying to build, fulfill visions, you know what I'm saying? So you can't, it's a law of physics that two objects can't occupy the same space at the same time. So it's a blessing to be here. So hopefully I have my 2 cents to add to whatever the subject matter may be, and trust all is well with all the family. Peace and love.
Peace and love. Now, I don't know if it got an echo when I talk, because sometimes the system might fix itself. But listen, family, I am a happy Moorish American. I'm a happy, excited Moorish American. I'm going to try to calm down a little bit because I suspect that we're going to have some different audiences and a different audience within the chat and watching this. And so I want to calm down because I don't want to mislead them to think that this is some buffoonery. This is the real deal that we are going to address tonight. There's some things that have been said, and I'm going to read the article to you. I want to read the article to you because we're going to address piece by piece. We have a few other brothers that will be joining us. Inshallah, my brother Cyrus Hill will be in the building. My brother Mati McCoy Hill will be in the building. So in the meantime, matter of fact, I should allow, or I would love that my brother, do you have the article on hand, brother Tunica? Because see, Tunica got that voice. He got that voice, man. You know what I mean? It would be and I don't know, he real smart, y'all. He like, like teacher smart.
Islam.
Bro, hey, no. He be correcting my errors and all that. Like, Mo, come on, Mo. You can't spell it like that, Mo. Stop, Mo. Praise the Lord. Man, I love somebody to make me get right. I need to get right. I have to be rushing too much. Anyway, do you happen to have the article on hand?
Yeah, I'm looking for it now.
Okay, so while you reading it, I'm going to follow along with you, unless you want to screen share it. Can you screen share it? And that would start the show off excellent to show exactly what we're addressing here. Family, I want to say, listen, Moorish Science Temple of America is not a complex thing. It's very simple. Proclaiming your nationality is very simple. Islamism is very simple. Prophet teaches Islam is a very simple faith. You know, and we're going to break down the simplicity tonight. We have a journalist. If I'm not mistaken, I think she's from Morocco, if I'm not mistaken. This comes out the Moroccan World News. So we have literally struck a chord somewhere over in Morocco, because this article actually comes out of, if I'm saying it right, Rabat. Is that correct, my brother? R-A-B-A-T. Rabat. I could be a little off.
Is that what it says more? I only got a chance to pick it up very quickly.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to screen share it right now.
According to our good brother Shem El, the author is from London.
Okay. And she said she may have sent the article in to Moorish World, what is called Moroccan World News.
Moroccan World News, yeah.
Because that station, they saying that the article comes out of Rabat. So maybe she sent the article in, you know. However, her name is Chloe Clora. While the brother going on that, let's look at.
There it is, Mo.
You got it?
Do you see it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. One moment. Let me stop my screen share.
Can we scroll up?
Okay. Where yours at? There yours. Okay, yes. So screen share that, and it's on you, my brother.
Yes, sir. It says the American religion that makes its members, in quotes, Moroccans. Rabat, yes. A small community in the USA who claim to be descendants of the Moors pledge allegiance to the Kingdom of Morocco and its king. With temples across 15 states, the Moorish Science Temple of America is a religious group that believes all African Americans are Moors descended from Northwest Africa. The movement's official website calls its followers of the, quote, Mohammedan religion, stating that their aim is to, quote, help in the great program of uplifting fallen humanity and teach those things necessary to make our members better citizens. The group emphasizes racial pride. Once labeled a, quote, sect or a cult by the FBI, the Moorish Science Temple of America contests the generally accepted origins of African Americans. Indeed, they claim that calling somebody an African American is a misnomer for the Moors of America. Noble Drew Ali, the founder himself, alleged that the, quote, true nature of those considered African Americans had been withheld from them. Group members claim to follow Islam, saying they possess a secret part of the Koran. According to Ali's memoirs, he received a, quote, divine revelation after meeting an Egyptian teacher, and the members used these manuscripts during their religious ceremonies. The movement was founded by Noble Drew Ali in 1913 in New Jersey. Its strong sense of identity appealing to African Americans struggling under racial and economic oppression. Born Timothy Drew in 1886, there are varying reports about both the founder's background and upbringing. One says he was the son of slaves. Another says he was the child of a Cherokee mother and a Moroccan Muslim father. Called a prophet by the temple's followers, Ali's motivation for creating the movement was to give African Americans an identity in a racist America and to unite them with their hidden past. This history being that people of color were descended from Moors and Muslims. Due to religious and racial disputes within the government and local residents, the group moved to Chicago in 1925. It was here, a city that the group has since called a, quote, new Mecca, where the group became officially registered under religious corporation law of the state of Illinois. To join the movement, one must recognize their Moorish origins by demanding their symbolic nationality as Moroccan and abandoning the history previously learned. Upon being accepted, members are given a card to show their identity, add an ill or bay to their surname. The changing of the surname was introduced to demonstrate their identity by rejecting the Europeans' names they had been given and paying homage to the surnames of their ancestors, which had been lost in slavery. Keen to show off their rediscovered identity, the men wear a fez they had strongly associated with Morocco. Rather than wearing the traditional hijab, women members opt to wear a turban and
Oh, brother went off. Uh-oh. Okay, so let me go ahead and finish what he was saying, and while he gets back on. I don't know what happened. He just dropped off, but that's all right. We already know how this works, but that's why I got it on deck. That's wrong. So he was where he said 1886. Due to religious, New Jersey Strong Six Variant reports. Hold up. As Moors ordered demand that symbolic nationality. Changing their surname was introduced to demonstrate their identity by rejecting the European names they had been given and paying homage to the surnames of their ancestor, which had been lost in slavery. Keen to show their rediscovered identity, the men wear a fez, the hat, strongly associated with Morocco. Rather than wearing the traditional hijab, women members opt to wear the turban and dress in loose-fitting clothing. Polygamy is acceptable within the group. The founder himself was notable for his numerous wives. Now pay attention, because this is where it took a turn for the worse. It's kind of, sort of. The whole article took a turn, but it says the article in 1929 edition of Chicago Defender said Ali had the power to marry and divorce as he wished. Very misleading, but we'll get to that. In 1929, following a dispute about funds and the death of the leader Drew Ali, different factions, and even entirely different groups arose, many of which survive today. The most well-known of these is the Nation of Islam, though they have the outright rejecting having any historical connection with the temple. Are you there, my brother?
Islam.
All right, I'm gonna finish this for Tilu. He fell off for a second. I got one paragraph, and then we're gonna get into it. While the group stresses that members abide by the law, in recent years, here we go again. In recent years, members of the group have been associated with negative press. In 2006, the leader of a group accused of plotting to blow up Chicago Sears Tower claimed to belong to the Moorish Science Temple of America. More recently, alleged members of the group have filed fake court reports, but the group has distanced itself from those making them, labeling them radical and subversive fringe groups and paperwork terrorists unrelated to the group's faith and teachings. In March 1990, the Moorish Science Temple of St. Louis delivered a Moorish resolution to Morocco, which was received by King Hassan, second minister of the state of Moulay Ahmed Aloui. I may be correct, I may be off a little bit. But with that, y'all get the gist of it. Now we're going to go in and we're going to break this down piece by piece. But before we do that, let me bring my brother in, my brother like no other, my brother Cyrus L. Islam Moore, you in the building?
Islam, brother Talker Bay. Good to hear you, brother, man. Can you hear me?
Brother, I hear you loud and clear. Praise the Lord. Glad you're in the building. I know the audience on you. I know that to the L don't come around too much. You haven't been, I don't know what y'all been doing. Y'all better be being industrious.
It's good to see my brother.
But introduce yourself. Who you are, my brother?
Islam. First, I rise and give praise to Allah, the great God of the universe. I give high honors to the last prophet in these days, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America. We give honors to all the divine prophets, giving honors to Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, and Confucius. I do give honors to our forerunner. I give high honors to the forerunner of the prophet, Brother Marcus Mosiah Garvey. I give honors to everything pertaining to Islam. I give honors to the panel. I give honors to my brother Tunic Ill I see on the panel, and to you, Brother Talker Bay. I give honors to the Moorish World TV platform and the listeners. Islam. I'm Brother Y. Cyrus L, the Assistant Grand Sheikh out of Brooklyn Temple number 34. You know, and that's it, Muslim. I want to get into the chase. I was looking at this article, you know, I want to hop to it. I saw you were touching on a few things. You know, it's a very interesting write-up. You know, and I won't say more than that. I know you got a plan. I would like to address it. You know, I like to address several things in this particular article. Islam.
I think in fairness, before we get into this conversation, in fairness, let me first share to you what they have on the writer of the article. In fairness, it said Chloe Koran is a final year student of Arabic and Latin at the University of St. Andrews. Her areas of interest include human rights, religion, the Arab-Israeli conflict, political history, and modern art. Hailing from London, Chloe has also written for print and online publication in the UK, and she can be contacted at chloecora@gmail.com. My brother Hernandez L has contacted her. I know he informed me that he had contacted her. He haven't received anything back yet. And in fairness, I must say that I don't think her intentions are malicious. I just think that she's misinformed, and I think that she grabbed the wrong information, and that is why we are here today, to clear up the misinformation. Because if her interests are in human rights, religion, the Arab-Israeli conflict, political history, and modern art, if she's truly into that, then she will appreciate this diatribe. So I just wanted to be fair and said this is not an attack on someone whose intentions that could possibly be good. It just got off a track by bad information. So yes. So first, I'm going to start with my brother Tunagal. Then I'm gonna spend. We're gonna chop it up here. And go piece by piece. And one of the first things that the article say, and I'm going to share it with Tunagal, and I'm going to let you see it also. One of the headline of the article. So as we see the picture, we see the Black Panther Party. We see some brothers in fezzes. I see my brother Lord Berg L. See, this is actually an old picture, because we know that our brother Lord Berg L, he's around Harlem. Shout out to Lord Merck L. But I haven't seen Lord Merck L on the front line like he used to be lately. So this has to be an old picture. We see the Black Panther Party. I'm not sure what this brother is, but he looked familiar to me. I can't think of his name at the moment. However, this is clearly an old picture. This may be Malik Shabazz. I'm not sure. But nevertheless, it's clearly an old picture. However, the title, we're going to ask my brother to clarify the title, and then we'll pass the Cyrus. But let's start with Tunagal. It says the American religion that makes its members Moroccans. However, we know that, I mean, not however, it's given the idea that the Moorish Science Temple of America, it makes you Moroccan once you join or proclaim your nationality, whatever. How do you address that line right there? The American religion that make their members Moroccans. Brother Tunigill.
Islam, yes, sir. Well, the first perspective I would view it from as a marketer or as a writer that's attempting to gain attention by having a title that's provocative, so that people will be like, huh, what? You know, this American religion that makes its members Moroccans. You know, that sounds absurd. And it is absurd. And the Moorish Science Temple of America makes no such claim. So it's misleading, but I understand what it was intended to do, which was grab the attention of their readership. But possibly that title also is attempting to lead the readership toward a particular conclusion before they even read the article, right? It's distancing, first of all, a religion that claims Islam as its religion. Islam isn't. The practice of Islam, Islam as a faith. They're differentiating themselves from that by referring to it as an American religion. And from one perspective, that's true, because the Prophet's expression of Islam is uniquely American, and he is a uniquely American prophet. So that's a fact. But to make the claim that we make, that the MST of A, Moorish Science Temple of America, claims to make its members Moroccans is misleading. We simply claim descent from Moroccans, but we are born in America. We are Americans via nationality and identification card said, I'm a citizen of the USA. I'm a citizen of the USA. Everyone knows that the free national name of citizens of the USA is American, right? But I was also reading an article earlier where the writer was a Nigerian. It was a Nigerian podcast, actually. And he was expressing that within Nigeria, there are over 500 ethnicities, which he called nations. And he referred to Nigeria as a multinational state, right? So the one free national name of Nigeria unified all those 500 ethnicities, nationalities, etc., depending on who's speaking, what terminology they use, into one free national name of Nigeria. Prophet Noble Drew Ali sought to do the same thing with those who are called Negroes, blacks, coloreds, and now African Americans, because it's often not brought out that those called African Americans are multi-ethnic people who were all made into one thing, which was the lowest caste in American caste system. They were all classed together, but we are inherently multi-ethnic, scientifically speaking, and ethnically speaking. We all did not come from one region of Africa. Came from multicultural ethnicities as well as nationalities, because, well, they weren't nationalities in the modern sense of a nation state, but people who carry some of those same bloodlines, etc. So that being the case, Noble Drew Ali had a plan to unify this multi-ethnic group of people under one standard. And he chose the Moroccan standard. For one thing, that was one of the last empires that ruled from the Mediterranean all the way down deep into West Africa. And we also know that we can establish some ethnic links with particular groups within Morocco, such as particularly the Gnawa people, Gnawa, right? We can point out that, yeah, I'm gonna demonstrate an article a little later that just points out who some of the ancestry or some of the descent of the Gnawa who are Moroccans. And you'll see that they have some of the same. I'm gonna point at least one. So if there's one, There's bound to be other links that quote unquote African Americans and Moroccans share ethnically. But we also descend from the old Moroccan Empire socio-politically. Islam.
Islam. So with that, let me first, before I bring my brother Cyrus Hill in, I see my good brother Hernandez Hill stepped into the chat. Hernandez Hill, are you there, my brother? Maybe not. Brother Cyrus Hill.
Islam.
Brother, what do you have to add to the title that the American religion that makes its members Moroccans? Anything you like to add, my brother?
Yeah, I'd like to start, brother Tahaka Bey, just by pointing out, you know, something about the entire article. And I agree that the way that it was written may not have been malicious in intent. There were some things that I read that were not bad, you know, and they were you know, honest attempts to expose to her audience to what Moorish science is and to our prophet Noble Drew Ali. But one of the things I'd like the young lady to keep in consideration, you know, when you're talking about a group of a family, you know, a group of people that hold something as dear as their relationship or with each other, their past history, or with anyone, you know, this is from the Koran, you know, how you address a prophet. You know, you should do it out of a certain type of consideration and a bare minimum of respect. And I think that that was lost a little bit in this particular article, based on when you look at the way that the article was researched and some of the really strong claims that were made. You know, I think that you know she want to be aware of, you know, be careful not to accidentally even be offensive. You know, but I won't hold her to that too hard. So in the title, I think the way that it's put, first thing that struck me even before I read into the article, the way that it's written, you know, it is contrived in a way where it's almost like, you know, we're fake. You know, we have a religion that makes us like we're cookie cutter fake Moroccans, and you know I think that, you know, that's improper the way that it's done. Like Brother Tunica Il said, Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, we are descendants of Moroccans and born in America. And what I'd like to add, I want to read something that's from chapter 47 of our Holy Quran, the Circle 7 Quran, chapter 47 on page 58. Instruction number 9 says. It reads, it says, according to all true and divine records, the human race, according to all true and divine records of the human race, there is no Negro, black, or colored race attached to the human family, because all the inhabitants of Africa were and all of the human race, descendants of the ancient Canaanite nation from the Holy Land of Canaan. What your ancient forefathers were, you are today without doubt or contradiction. There is no one who was able to change man from the decent nature of his forefathers, unless his power extends beyond the great universal creator, Allah himself. And in that, and in some other points I'm going to make to, you know, that were made in the article, you know, if so-called African Americans, right? The prophet says we're, you know, African Americans, Negro, black, and colored. That's not what we are. That's not doesn't speak to nationality or a group of people, which we are. You know, if we were stripped of our history, you know, at one point in time, then that means that history is there. It just was hidden. So we're not creating ourselves out of thin air or out of nowhere. We are connecting back to our ancient forefathers. I'd like to add, there's a book, a couple of details that you can draw a stronger connection to where we're coming from. There's a book called The Discovery of America, an Outgrowth of the Conquest of the Moors. And I'm gonna share, if I can, I'm gonna share the screen. Tell me if my screen is showing, Brother Tahaka Bey. That's a screen grab that I took of a portion of the cover, which is available in the Library of Congress. It's an old book, but in this, they're connecting the Moors of Spain to the discovery of the Americas via Christopher Columbus. So again, it stands to fly in the face of the claim that's made. Also, I don't know if Brother Tunica will put it out there, but we should throw it out early. Sister Dana Marnici, who is an anthropologist, you know, not a member of the Moorish Science Temple of America, has a blog, but she did a lot of research and data, some of which Brother Tunica was pointing out for us just now. She has a blog spot called afroasiatic.blogspot.com, and correct me if that was wrong. I believe that's the correct link for the page, where you can find additional information that can make this connection between the Moors of America and the Moors of Spain to the Hebrews, and those that actually came out of the land of Canaan, now known as the Holy Lands or in the Middle East. Also, I wanted to point out the mystery of the Olmec heads that are found here in the Americas, and if we have no connection to these to our ancestors, I would ask the sister to then explain, how do you explain then the existence of these Olmec heads? And when she looks at that story, it speaks for itself. There's a book, Our Fellows Children, Our Fellows Children in the New World.
You gonna give it all up in one?
Yeah. We'll get to Our Fellows Children, but just on this one point, there's a lot of information. You got the Moors Sundry Act of 1790. That also makes this connection between the Moors in America, in the classic Moors of Spain and in Africa, Islam. So I'm gonna start with that, but talking about
Islam. I didn't want to go above and beyond right this second, because there's a lot of ground, a lot of article to cover. And I would like to add that brother just pointed out our nationality card, and I think one of the things that I try to give it. I want to give people the benefit of the doubt, because it says that she's her last year in school. She's a student. That's what it's saying. She's in her last year. That's actually what it says. You know what I'm saying? So I want to give her the benefit of the doubt. I try not to look at people so hard all the time. But the information is readily available. But if you don't know where to get the information from, it can be a bit hard. So I don't want people to think I go hard on my own people, but the reason why is because they know the information. They done dipped into the information, and they done flipped it and made it what they wanted to be. Some people just don't have the ability or the access to know what to reach for. So that's the purpose of this show. I would like to share this. The Prophet Noble Drew Ali, because the question was, the Moorish American, the American religion that makes its members Moroccans. This is the nationality card of the Moorish Science Temple of America. And I'll show this later too when we get to that paragraph. This is what it says, family. This is your nationality and identification card for the Moorish Science Temple of America. Not for the United States of America, not for to go get on a plane, not for to catch a train. Not for any of that. This is a nationality card, nationality and identification card for the Moorish Science Temple of America, and birthrights for the Moorish Americans, etc. We honor all the divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, and Confucius. May the blessings of the God of our Father Allah be upon you that carry this card. I do hereby declare that you are a Muslim under the divine laws of the Holy Koran of Mecca. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And last but not least, I am a citizen of the USA. Noble Drew Ali, and this card comes out of Chicago. But all of them, some of them may have different addresses and different numbers. Some may have no numbers. Whatever the case may be, it says that I am a citizen of the USA. And I wanted to make that plain. I wanted to make that plain, that we are not American religion that makes members Moroccans. Nobody is becoming Moroccan. We are descendants of Moroccans and born in America, and we're talking about the ancient Moroccans, not this new Morocco that you see today. Period, point blank. Now, as we go down, let me see if my brother Gabriel Hernandez is in the building. Brother, are you there? Gabriel? He might went out for a snack. I don't know what happened. But anyway, we'll go to let's keep it moving. We're going to keep it moving. Okay, now the next line it says, and I'm going to try to keep the flow going. So let's keep it short. Let's hit hard and get up out of here. We just want to, because this stuff it just got to be corrected, but we got to hit hard. All right, a small community in the U.S. who claim to be descendants of Moors. See, she got that right. Claim to be descendants of Moors, pledge allegiance to the kingdom of Morocco and its king. Brother Tunica Ill, do you? Oh, I see Gabriel Ill there, but I'm going to come right back to you, my brother. We're going to keep these wheels turning. Brother Tunica Ill, have you pledged allegiance to the kingdom of Morocco and its king, brother, since you became a Moorish American Muslim, my brother? Just curious. I haven't. I wonder if you have.
No, sir, I haven't. You know, I will say this in our Quran question, right? We refer to the Sultan of Morocco as our ruler. Now we know that the present king does not carry that title of Sultan, but it's very significant because at the time that this literature was prepared, there was a Sultan of Morocco, even though they were under the colonization of the French, right, which began with the Treaty of Fez in 1912. So here, when you have a people, Moroccan, that was under the colonization of the French, you have Noble Drew Ali on the American shores flying the flag of Morocco proudly on these shores, while Morocco couldn't even be Morocco. Even the Al Moxon government that some associate with the Mexican, but that's another show, was replaced by the French government. So, you know, it's some significance in that. And we know, at least according to one article of a Toledo, Ohio paper in 1930, demonstrates a direct connection between Morocco and the Moorish sign symbol of America, when the Prince of Morocco at that time was detained in the courthouse because he walked in with a firearm. And the brother that was accompanying him was a member of the Moorish Science Temple, according to the paper. So there were connections, and we as an organization, Moorish Science Temple of America, obviously supported the Moroccan nationalist movement that eventually manifested in the present day Kingdom Republic of Morocco. But we are older as a people than the present day Moroccans, nationality wise, right? They only existed since 1956. The MST of A was founded in 1913 and incorporated in the state of Illinois in 1926. So we as a people are older than them. Is the point I'm making. So we're not seeking to be co-opted by any other nation. You know, that's why we're unique in that we have, and the Prophet is the establishment of Islam in America for our people, what I call Islam Fubu, for us, by us. So we're not trying to be anyone other than ourselves, Moorish Americans. That's who and what we are. We don't want to be Moroccans. We already influence the world through culture and thought. So why are we going to imitate someone else, right? And that was one of the reasons Prophet Noble Drew Ali didn't bow to certain interpretations of Islam, because he didn't want to trade the European slave master for Arab slave master, right? And certain nationalities within Islam think they own Islam, and they think that you're coming into their thing, and they have inter-Islamic prejudices and racism according to other nationalities. So we don't play that game. We have our own thing. We firm in that. We incorporated in the state of Illinois. We're under the First Amendment of the U.S. the Constitution of the United States of America. So we're legitimate worldwide. So we're not attempting to be anyone other than ourselves. So the article definitely was erred in its subliminal suggestion that we are trying to be Moroccans. No, we're Moorish American.
Is not. Yes, and let me share this real quick before I pass it down to my brother. I want to screen share this. This is typically what you see when you think of Morocco today. This is typically what you see. So apparently, journalists would say, how can you claim that and you look like you do? You look phenotypically, they may say Africoid, Negroid, whatever they choose to determine it, whatever the vernacular they choose to determine us to look like. But they'll say, well, nah, this is nah. But we, as the Moors of the Moorish Science Temple of America, we quick to refer you to the original Moroccan before the colonization, and he does not look like this. If you want to look this up, it's another show. If you want to go on the history of the original phenotype of those from the inhabitants of Morocco, northwest, western shores of Africa, this guy here, this comes out of the New York State Public Library. Just type in the Rift Pirates. The Coast Rift is a portion of the seaboard of Morocco, and this is what they look like. Not like this. This is new. This is old. This is you. Anyway, with that, Brother Gabriel Hernandez, are you there, my brother? Brother, you been taking too long, brother. We be rolling, man. What you doing over? Anyway, so Brother Cyrus, the next thing is on this article, we go down, and I'm going to skip through some of this stuff. It says, and I got to address this because a brother in the chat said that is this Islam different from the Islam of Morocco? That's what a brother in the chat said. And straight down here, you would see that on paragraph 2, if I'm not. The writer says the movement official website called it followers of the Mohammedan religion, stating that their aim is to help in a great program of uplift and follow humanity and teach those things necessary to make them better, make our members better citizens, quote unquote. Now, when somebody in the chat said, "Is this Islam different than the Islam of I guess of Morocco or of the East or of you get what I'm saying, of Arabia and all that?" Yeah. So let's see if we can answer this question for somebody in the chat as well as deal with those followers of the Mohammedan religion. We'll start with you, and then we'll get to Gabriel Hernandez next.
Islam. I'd like to answer that question for sure, and I want to start by being balancing out the diplomacy as well. I appreciate the point that you made, Brother Tahaka Bey, about the modern citizens or inhabitants of Morocco and the ancient Moroccans, or our ancestors, in the phenotype thereof. That's a very, very good point and an important point to make. And we mean no offense, and I know you mean no offense as well to our brothers that are in Morocco. So I just wanted to throw that out very quickly. The point needed to be made. The distinction needs to be made. Are we citizens of the USA? I would definitely say yes. You want to look at the vexillology in the temple. Look at the vexillology right directly behind you, Brother Tahaka Bey. And in our Divine Constitution and Bylaws, Act 4 and 5, it talks about the Constitution of the United States of America. Prophet Noble Jali wrote it in, a congressman in Chicago. The difference between the Islam in Morocco or the Islam in Arabia, in our Islam that the Prophet Noble Jali brought us as an American prophet, an actual prophet. I will point out the distinction of the difference between culture and creed. We here in the Americas, we have a different experience for, several millennium, if you will, being separated. So our expression of Islam, centuries, I said millennium, being, our expression of Islam is different. The cultural expression of Moorish American Islam is going to be different than the cultural expression of Islam in Arabia. This is the reason why there was a comment that the young lady made about the hijab. And why we don't wear it, and that's not the creed of Islam, are the 5 pillars, of Shahadatain. We take our Shahada, Salat, Zakat, Hajj, and Ramadan, and the principles that are even embedded in that. That's Islamic. That's the creed. The culture of Arabia, their relationship to women, or their relationship, the way that they dress, the way that they speak, even the language that they speak. It says in the Quran, Mecca, Prophet Muhammad said, peace and blessings be upon him, said that to every nation we sent a messenger, and the expressions of Islam throughout time have changed, and they changed in our expression. I'll leave it simply like that, brother. Peace.
All right. And Brother Gabriel, there's ill, boy. Every time I'm ready to get to you, my brother, your mic go off, and then I keep moving on. I'm going to give you a second right now to unmute your mic, my brother. Introduce yourself. Come on in the chat, brother. Let's get it rolling. Your mic on, brother? Can't hear you. There we go. I hear you now.
There you go. All right. Islam. I rise to my highest. I like to first give all praise to Allah. I like to extend my honors to the Prophet, the forerunner, to Taharka for this platform, for the brothers on the panel, Brother Lasana, who was there when I came into this movement, Brother Cyrus, to you as well, brother, and to all men, for a man honors man, he honors his Father God Allah. Yeah, this topic is definitely near and dear to me. I think Brother Cyrus made a great point when he said, and I felt the same way when I read it, I didn't feel like she was intentionally being malicious, but I do think her scholarship was sloppy and her journalistic fortitude was definitely lacking. So I did, personally send her a message after I read it in those regards. And I like to also extend honors to Brother Ishmael Bey, because that brother gave a good lesson on a show on Moorish World TV. Maybe it was 2 months ago, but he had referenced some of these types of articles. Some could be considered scathing, slanderous, and he made some excellent points. And I had always felt a certain way about it, but didn't know the proper channels to take. And my understanding at the time, I hadn't really done research on it, but I was thinking we needed a lawyer. And I ended up finding out after doing some research, after hearing Ish break some things down. I researched, looked into it. I was like, oh, we don't require any of that. We just do it. And so if I could, there was an article. I want to share my screen if I could. Let me give me 1 second, family, while I do this here. Select the window. All right, just one screen share. So hopefully you can see my screen. Are you able to see that? Oh, I can't hear you, brother. But okay.
Oh yeah, we see it. I'll be muting my mic, but we got it.
Islam. All right. So this was an article that I saw Ishmael Bey post up May 15th. I think I saw that, got into the office. I looked at it and I said, man, that's, I clicked on the article to read because I wanted to read it. And there was so much it was slanderous. To say the least. And so what I did, I contacted the individual who wrote it. This is the contact form that I used once I researched them. It's my email to him. I won't read it all, but I'll just read a little bit. I said, greetings, Jay. My name is Gabriel Hernandez L., chairman of Moorish Science Temple of America, Temple number 16 in Atlanta, Georgia. I came across an article that you wrote, and obviously I said you twice, okay, and found to be a well thought out piece. However, I did find a major error that casts a slanderous, unfair, and misdirected light onto an organization that has played a major part in my growth and development. The statement you made about Moorish Science Temple of America, i.e., furthermore, not all citizens are white. Now, I was basically quoting something that he said. Long, a black sovereign citizen, killed 3 law enforcement officers in Louisiana last year. An increasing number of Black Americans are coming to the sovereign movement from the Moorish Science Temple, a Black Muslim church that believes African Americans are the descendants of ancient Moors. And then I go on to say what's simply wrong all the way around. But I give you the benefit of the doubt, being that most journalists seem to tuck their journalistic integrity when the Moorish Science Temple is a topic of discussion. Please allow me to expound. And I went on to point for point rebut everything that he brought up. And then I just broke it down for him. As you can see, it was quite in depth. And then what I will close with is that, hold on one second. Give me 1 second. Hold on. This right here was his response to me. And as you can see, it says, Mr. Hernandez L., thank you for your email. I've asked my editor to change the text to reflect the fact that Long was a member of the Ouachita Nation, not the Moorish Science Temple of America. And then he put J. Oliver Conroy. So I'll leave it at that. And we can continue to build.
I was going to say, I appreciate that, because a lot of us need to take that proactive approach. And anybody who is a responsible Moorish American, it is your duty to send an email to these people and to address some of these things. You know, the more emails they get, the more write-ins they get, hopefully they will correct it. And the more that we address it on our media platform, sometimes, yeah, we go back and forth with each other. But hey, things like this should take a whole precedence over all of that going back and forth and trying to figure out what's right and what's wrong amongst one another. We need to rally the troops and circle the wagons when these things like we're talking about tonight come about. So it says here, it said group members claim to follow Islam, saying they possess a secret part of the Quran according to Ali's memoirs. Let's stop right there. Brother Tunica L. They say that we follow Islam and we possess a secret part of the Quran according to Ali's memoirs.
Yes.
It says he received a divine revelation after meeting with the Egyptian teacher, and the members used these manuscripts to more during their religious ceremonies. Brother Tunica L, please, in all honesty, please help our audience understand these secret manuscripts, this Ali's memoirs, and about this meeting with these teachers, brother. Can you help us? Can you expound upon that for us, please?
Islam. First of all, if you look at the incorporation document of the Moorish Science Temple of America, it states clearly that it was founded under the authority of the great Quran of Muhammad to propagate the faith, right? So Islam is our faith. Now, I don't know what secret memoirs that she's referring to, but I have no idea what she's talking about with respect to memoirs of Noble Drew Ali. You can almost tell that she been kind of like piecemealing things from various sites that's online, that's publishing things that are not documented with real sources. And that takes into account some of, as you mentioned, her journalistic shortcomings in so doing. But that being said, I think that may be a reference to the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, but we do not refer to it as a secret part of the Holy Quran of Mecca, right? We hold the highest honors to both books. The same book is in both books are intended to produce the same type of being, which we refer to as Muslim or Muslim. We definitely, Moors and Moorish Americans should be literate in the basic tenets of the Islamic faith as taught by the Holy Quran of Mecca. It's the foundation under which the temple was founded. But again, as I mentioned earlier, Noble Drew Ali, who had tested our people in various situations. Because one thing Brother Walker, who was the last surviving member of the Canaanite Temple, said in 1981, in his recalling the early days of the Canaanite Temple, there was a rift between the temple where some of those preferred Christianity. And because Noble Drew Ali insisted upon teaching Islam, there was a rift within the organization, and he eventually left. So having gone through that and knowing what our people's sensibilities were as it relates to Jesus, etc., he prepared a system that was fine-tuned for who we are as a people here in America, that would produce the same type of beings that the Holy Quran, that the Prophet Muhammad intended to produce when the Holy Quran of Mecca came through him. And there were these same type of accusations that he was co-opting scriptures from the Jews, he was co-opting scriptures from the Zoroastrians, that he was co-opting scriptures from the Christians. All the same accusations were levied, and still are, upon the Prophet Muhammad in his day, as that are being levied on Prophet Noble Drew Ali in this contemporary time, as it relates to coming to us with the plan of salvation, a system of Islam, which we know predates the Prophet Muhammad, and he says so himself, back to the father Abraham. And even Abraham was taught by Melchizedek, the Canaanite high priest. So this is a faith that goes back and took on various forms, depending upon among which nation of people that were practicing the faith of the oneness of the Most High God, Allah, known by many names among many nations of people. So yeah, so that's what I wanted to say to that point as it relates to people distinguishing, do we practice Islam? Yes, we do. And among us, as there are among other nationalities, you have conservatives, you have moderates, you have liberals, and you have some fanatics. And we are no different in that regard.
It's not. Brother Cyrus, there, would you like to add to that before I add something to it?
Yeah, I think Brother Tunica kind of touched at the core of it. So I would just say this, to me, it sounds like the way that the question is posed, it sounds like there's some contempt somehow. It sounds like the classic contempt that the Moors get. And I think you could probably address, because in Holy Quran of Mecca, you see that it's building on all of the prophets. It talks about Adam, it talks about Abraham, it talks about Moses, which is, that doesn't mean, you know what I mean? I think that there's a misconception about, the way that Islam has evolved and taken shape. And really at the root of it, really, we have that discussion that's going to boil down to, is Prophet Muhammad the last prophet, and it gets into a discussion that you had Brother Hopkins addressed on his show, is talking about the seal of the prophets and how that word Khatum is misinterpreted. But so yeah, I wouldn't add anything to what Brother Tunica said. I'm gonna just read real quick from page 3 what the Quran actually does have in it. Missing teachings, 18 missing years of the Prophet Jesus, which are to help us. The lessons of this pamphlet are not for sale, but for the sake of humanity, as I am a prophet and a servant is worthy of his hire, you can receive this pamphlet at expense. The reason these lessons have not been known is because the Muslims of India, Egypt, and Palestine had these secrets and kept them back from the outside world. And when the time appointed by Allah, they loosened the keys and freed these secrets. And for the first time in ages have these secrets been delivered in the hands of the Muslims of America. All authority and rights of publishing of this pamphlet of 1947. Peace.
So I wanted to add to, and I just want to put emphasis on, real quick, a brief second, where it says in this article, it says here, group members claim, as if we're claiming something. Group members claim to follow Islam, as if we're not really following Islam, we're just claiming to follow Islam. Saying, we know how this language is, man. This language is very suggests that we are frauds, and so now this is becoming slanderous. It's hard to give the benefit of the doubt after now I'm watching and now I'm reading. I'm like, hold up, you don't have to use this language. You know what I mean? Group members claim to follow Islam, saying they possess a secret part of the Quran. In actuality, we don't possess any secret part of any Quran. The brother just read what he what only secrets we're talking about is something that was kept from us and now it's here. You heard what the brother just said, Brother Cyrus L. It said, according to Ali's memoirs, family, people, sympathizers, there is no memoirs. Not that I know of. I've been around since 1990. Never seen the memoirs. Never. I know a lot of intelligent, smart researchers in the Moorish science symbol of America. Never seen them. Secondly, he received a divine revelation after meeting with an Egyptian teacher. Now, to me, this is personally me, and I don't want to mislead anybody to say that didn't happen, but I know that I have not seen any proof. I've heard these stories now. I've heard them. I haven't seen any proof that that ever happened. I've heard the stories that, you know what I mean, the divine revelation.
Yes, sir.
I haven't seen proof. None.
Indeed. Well, one thing that does prove, though, brother, that she's drawn from some sources that are from people who call themselves Moors, right? So in that sense, things like that, you can't really, because if you're a outsider to a situation or even foreigner to a nation and you're doing research, so you're going to look to those people who claim to be that, and depending upon what they say, you're going to hold that as official because they claim to be more. So as we mentioned earlier, there is a lot of misinformation, and we've been doing that work within as well to separate, as you've been doing, to separate what Noble Drew Ali taught as opposed to others who claim the brand of Moorish American, some of the things that they bought into the temple, foreign ideals that they bought into the temple. And as we're distinguishing that from within, we also have to inform the public. And this gives us an opportunity to do so, right? But there's also, because there are commonalities as it relates to descent, socio-politically, as well as some ethnically, ties with people who now inhabit the lands called Morocco. So there is opportunity there for cultural exchange, for mutually beneficial economic relationships, etc. But we have to foster this understanding between who we are and to clear up misconceptions, which will make some of those opportunities more seamless.
Islam. Let's move on down real quick. We got a couple more paragraphs. Let me move on down real quick. It says that the movement founded in 1913, which is correct, in New Jersey, strong sense identity with African Americans struggling for work. That's correct. Born Timothy through 1886, from various reports, both the founders' background and upbringing. One said he was the son of slaves. I'm gonna leave that alone because that you're gonna hear that back and forth. The son of slaves, the son of Cherokees raised him, his aunt beat him. You'll hear this stuff all back and forth, and I don't even think they deserve an honorable mention in this conversation. So we're gonna breeze past that. However, I want to get straight to the we can get to the religious dispute just slightly, but not that we all know that part. You know, it all happens with all organizations. When Muhammad left the scene, you had those who wanted to follow Ali, and those, I mean, it happens. It is what it is. That's nothing new. You know what I mean? It happened with Brother Jesus. It happened with all of them. It's nothing new. So we ain't even gonna touch that. But now I want to get to this paragraph. It says, and I'm gonna screenshot it because I like people to see what I'm talking about. And hopefully y'all be able to go to read the article as you watch this or replay this. If you are watching this, I'm going to put the link into the bottom. So those who watch it that's not watching it live, you'll be able to go and see the article for yourself, because this is the day and time. We are not trying to hide, mislead, or cover anything. we're going to reveal the facts of what the Prophet Noble Drew Ali taught. With that being said, it said, to join the movement, one must recognize their Moorish origin and by demanding their symbolic nationality as Moroccan, and abandoning the history previously learned.
Yeah, can I address that?
Brother, it just shut me down. Sure, let me read it one more time. It says, to join the movement. The movement we're talking about is the Moorish Science Temple of America, the Moorish National Divine Movement. One must recognize their Moorish origin by demanding their symbolic nationality as Moroccan, and abandoning the history previously learned. Go on, Simon. You can take it away. I don't need no introduction with that.
Islam, that has all the hallmarks of you know, and I'm trying to be easy on this young lady. It has all the hallmarks of kicking a man when he's down, you know. For one, we don't demand our nationality. Prophet Noble Drew Ali proclaimed. He taught us, he instructed us to proclaim our nationality, and that's, you know, right out of the divine constitution and bylaws. So again, at one time, it makes me wonder what type of research did she do if she confuse the use of the word demand and proclaim, when all through Moorish science it talks about proclaiming your nationality. But even more importantly, our nationality is not symbolic. I wanted to go back to an earlier point that was made in the article. I'm gonna touch it and I'm gonna come right back where she said something about she said something about the generally accepted origins of African Americans, where saying that we're claiming something versus what our generally accepted origins are. And the way that can be read is like, what are you construing that our origins are? Maybe it was a grammatical error the way she said that, but again, it comes off in the same air of kind of being a little cold, a little cruel, And we understand the hallmarks of Islam is not about cruelty. It's about really at its essence, the principle of love is at the base. But Ali's it said also Ali's motivation for creating the movement was to give African Americans an identity. It's speaking to the same thing about us demanding a nationality. Prophet Noble Drew Ali, he came to connect us back to our history, through our nationality, and connecting us to a law. So, I just wanted to correct that. That was my thought on hearing the way that the sister put it. It's wrong and it's kind of cold-blooded, if you will. Peace.
Yeah. And I would like, if Gabriel Hernandez want to touch on that, to call a national, that's just like to say that somebody that we could use example. I love to use Chinese. I don't know why I always use Chinese. I guess there's so many of Chinese. China, big country, and I mean they fight for their culture for the most part. And I like to use them as an example. But let's say, for an example, that a Chinese person was in America for 3 generations, and now they want to connect themselves back. And somebody would say they want to symbolically call themselves Chinese. A Chinese person would say, what are you talking about? And so that's how that made me feel when I seen that. Like, how do I symbolically have a nationality? What is a symbolic nationality? So I think it's on the line of Slanderous right there. But let's move forward to the second half of that paragraph. It says, upon accepting, members are given a card for identity, adding L.O. Bay to their surname. By changing their surname, now listen to the duality in the talk. She says adding Bay to their surname, but then she said changing their surname. Now, this is that full talk, that double talk. Changing our surname, or are we adding to the surname? What are we doing? She said, by changing the surname, the changing of the surname was introduced to demonstrate their identity by rejecting European names that have been given. Now, are we dropping the name, or are we adding to the surname? Are we rejecting the European name? What is going on here, my brother Gabriel Hernandez? And then I would love for my brother too to be able to touch on it after you. We got 30 minutes, brother. We got a little bit more to go. Let's just get it and hit hard and bring it on home for the audience. You up, brother Gabriel?
Islam more. Yeah, I think you actually hit it right on the head after, you know, further scrutiny and hearing you read that. I mean, that was the first thing I read this morning, and I did kind of read it fast. But after hearing you go back in on those parts, it's ringing back, and now I'm like, okay, definitely sounds a little more. You know, when I read it earlier, it sounded a little ignorant, and now reading it, hearing it again and again, it sounds more deliberate.
Yeah,
And,
the language, bro. You're right.
yeah.
The way that it is written, like you can get misinformation, but
It's
the way that it's put together, and that's why I want Tunica L to touch on it, because Tunica L this is his world when it comes to working with the words, brother. So
Yeah.
come on, brother Gabriel Hernandez L.
Yeah, that's really it. I agree with you. And Cyrus L said it too. Yeah, it definitely looks like she's taking some pot shots, you know, playing it almost, maybe she's playing a little ignorant, but she's also definitely taking pot shots. Some of the phraseology that she used was definitely disrespectful. And it, like you said, it started off right when it seemed like she was saying, oh, they add on to the surname. And then she said, by changing the name, you know,
All in 2 sentences.
yeah, and she changed it up. Like she flipped. She had already said something, and I think earlier when I read it, that's what kind of gave me the I could hear the ignorance in it. And so I was like, I don't know if I would just want to crash down on her just yet, but now I think I'm gonna have to.
Yeah. Brother Hernandez, you deal with food and you write recipes. You know you have to be recipe specific when you write something.
That's right.
Am I correct?
That's right.
Absolutely. You don't want to mislead nobody when you're writing a vegetarian or vegan recipe. Well, let me tell you something about 3 of us on here. Not only you write recipes, I don't know how much you with some lyrics. Brother Tuni L, he's a poet as well as an artist when it comes to hip hop. He writes, he teaches. Brother Cyrus L, same thing. We know how words work. No matter all this old hooping and hollering you see, brother, we know how to put words. I can misspell some words, but I know how to use words to grab people. That's one thing I know how to do. And with a journalist, they may have bad information, but they also, that has nothing to do with how to use words. Brother Tunigale, what do you think about that? In 2 sentences, she went from saying that we attach a surname or add a surname, Bayoel, and then say we change the surname to detach ourselves from Europeans.
Your mic is muted, brother. Too. Can you unmute his mic, brother Tahaka?
I don't think I'm able to do it. He has to do it.
Yes,
Let
sir.
me see. There you go. There you go.
That's fine. Yeah, well, it's in line with the total tone of the article in that, which essentially is saying to our audience that here you have these quote unquote African Americans who are assuming identity that has no basis in historical truth according to accepted history, general history from the sources that she's familiar with. So all of that phraseology is in line with that prevailing thought of the article. And so that being said, well, we're addressing it. We're informing the people who we are. But if she had access to the Moorish Guide newspapers that was published under the Prophet's being the editor, under his editorship, it's documented how the Moorish American nationality was established within America via the political process, via the Moorish American Parade, the First National Convention of the Moorish Science Temple of America, and the economic businesses that Moors founded in the name of under the Moorish American brand. That's how the nationality was established in the Moorish American. That's how the Moorish American nationality was established within the United States of America. Now that brings me back to my point when I was using the law of correspondence. with Nigeria. Nigeria is one nation that has, that this particular commentator referred to as a multinational state, because there were 300 what he considered nations under the one nationality of Nigeria. In the United States of America, it's a multinational state. All American citizens share the free national name of American. That's the nationality. But within that, they also fly the descent flag of the nation that they came from, because America is made up of many nations. Noble Drew Ali sought to adopt us to that particular standard. You know, next week I'm going to the Puerto Rican Day Parade. You'll see the Puerto Rican flag flying and the American flag. You go through the various neighborhoods, the ethnic neighborhoods within New York City. You see their national flag flying and the American flag. So we just fall in with that particular standard of American citizenship. There are those who just Americans in their mentality and in their paradigm. They don't necessarily recognize the descent nature of their forefathers. Many who call themselves African Americans feel that because many of those cords were disconnected via the slave experience and selling families, offer separation of families, etc., they were like, it's no use. Some are seeking it through DNA, right? But that being said, we can demonstrate. Let me show this very quickly more, just to hit this point. If I can share the screen here. I have like 10 windows open here. Share. Do you see it more?
We can see you, brother. We can see the page.
For some reason, it's not scrolling for me though. Yeah, for some reason, it's not scrolling. Well, let me just make this point right here. And this is from an article called "Constructing a Diasporic Identity," tracing the origins of the Gnawa people, Gnawa, who are Moroccans who primarily inhabit the southern part of Morocco. And this article says that the term, quote, Gnawa refers to Black people from West Africa, as well as their religious, spiritual order, and musical style. So depending on how you're using it, you can be talking about the people's ethnicity, their particular spiritual order, or their style. Is all three. But it's saying in case of their ethnic designation, all sources I am consulting in writing this essay consistently agree that the Gnawa, who now live in Morocco and are Moroccans by nationality, were originally Black slaves who became free over time under various historical circumstances. Historians believe that the Gnawa population originated from West Africa, from Senegal to Chad, and from Mali in the north to Nigeria in the south. Now, and it goes on, we can make other points, but let's just look at the Senegalese. It said from Senegal to Chad. Now we know, historians, this is pretty clear, one of the main ports, slave ports was in Senegal, Gorée Island. Now that's not necessarily all the slaves came from Senegal that was transported to the Americas, but we know for a fact that there were many that were Senegalese in the classic 17th, 18th century Senegalese who were transported to the Americas, right? And you know, there are other documents that I can show, but it's like it's not scrolling for me for some reason. But if we just use that's that one nation, Senegal, who share descent, the Gnawa share descent from Senegalese. some African Americans also share descent from Senegalese. The Nawa are Moroccans. So just from an ethnic perspective, just dealing with the Nawa and their Senegalese descent, they share similar descent nature in just that one respect as some African Americans. That's an ethnic connection there. So it wouldn't be far reaching in saying that African Americans are descendants of Moroccans and born in America from that one perspective with that particular people. Now we know she also mentioned Mali, because we know that Morocco conquered Timbuktu as well, right? And all of these are regions into West Africa that you can see the Empire of Morocco had its reach. That being said, again, using the law of correspondence, many of the beforehand land masses or nations, etc., that was controlled by the Moroccan Empire was quote unquote inherited or later taken over by the French, including Morocco itself, right? Now you have Morocco, you have Tunis, Algeria, you have Senegal. All these African countries was once under the colonization of the French. So even though they had their own ethnic identities, they all still took on certain French isms. They speak the French language. They went to French schools, and they have those French sensibilities in accordance with their descent nature of the people they came from. Islam, we over here, the same way under the Moroccan Empire. It was different kingdoms under the Moroccan Empire. But once they came under the rulership of the Emperor of Morocco, they also assumed certain aspects of the Moroccan, what I would call Morocco-isms. The Arabic language, the flavor of music, some of the Islamic schools. You'll see now Nigerian imams who would tell you that their Islam is Moroccan Islam, right? So the Moroccan Empire extended down into West Africa via Islam as well. Some of it was militarily, some of it was culturally, some of it was religious. But the empire had full reach down into West Africa, right? So Prophet Noble Drew Ali, understanding that and in seeking to unify the multi-ethnic people who were being all classified as Negro, colored, and Black under one standard, which was the Moroccan standard that he was, in that sense, reviving here in the Western America. So people have to draw those correspondences to understand the perspective from which he's looking at things, and not an outsider's perspective through their limited schooling. Because he was an academic maverick in discussing the migration patterns of people from Canaan into West Africa and into Northwest Africa, and then migrating down into West Africa. And Brother Cyrus Hill mentioned Sister Dana Marniche's work that's very exhausted in that regard. So I'm not going to go into all of that. But the point is, we have legitimate ethnic connections with people in Morocco, but specifically the Nawa, but also some of the Berbers, because the original Berbers also are people like the Songhai, Sanhedja, many West African tribes of Berber descent as well, right? But they, generally speaking, when they say Berber, it's like in a modern light-skinned ethnocentric sense. But we know all the Berbers were not pale or very, very light-skinned. So, you know, you have to really be informed on who these people were when they call these catchphrases like Berber, Arab, et cetera, so we can distinguish. But I don't want us to make the mistake as well, because there are some light-skinned Moorish Americans, myself being one. So we don't want to totally have a skin-centric view of things and automatically categorize who people are loyal to based on their skin color. You know, you have to watch a man by his works, words, deeds, and actions as far as that's concerned. So yeah, it's a misleading article, definitely, but it's also an opportunity for us to clear the record. And of course, it begs the necessity of Moorish Americans producing their own media and making it available, the research that we're doing, making it available to the world, the mass of the world, because a lot that we have so far, the world is not quite, haven't seen yet. So inshallah, we'll clear up a lot more of these misconceptions about who Prophet Noble Drew Ali was, who Moorish Americans are, etc. I yield the floor, more.
I got 2 more points that I would like to address on this article, 2 more main points. One of the points was from my brother Novan Thomas. As I said, our brother and friend, he's definitely a practicing Mason. So I want people to know when I do them shows, me and that brother has an understanding that we just trying to get to the root of the truth. We ain't trying to offend and bust nobody over the head, although sometimes that does happen symbolically. Now that's symbolic, but we still brothers at the end of the day. I'd like you to bring your attention to this here. As we talk about the media misrepresenting us as Moorish American, we have a young brother named Jay Fuqua Bey. He's out of Detroit. The D is in the building, and he is starting the first young people's Moorish retreat. It's happening on June the 23rd through the 25th. It's kind of like this young brother saying, hold up. Now, all of these conventions that these old people got, you know what I mean? I'm one of them. All these Ali's men conventions and brotherhood summits, and hold up. What about the young people? So this young brother took the initiative and said, you know what? Us young people need to come together, and we need to spend a day together, and we need to build together that we may become one another's strength. And I would encourage you to dial his number, send him a text, ask him, how can you help? He has a GoFundMe. All you have to do is go to GoFundMe, Young People Moorish Retreat. That's it. Drop the brother $5 or $10. Help the brother out, because see what this is going to do is going to facilitate him bringing some of them old people out there to speak, him bringing some of those people to encourage these young people to hold on. Don't get on the pills. Don't pop pills, smoke dro. You know what they do. And the only way we're going to stop that is we're going to have to let the youth speak to the youth. So I'm asking you, I'm imploring you, if you are on this cast, seen this cast, or have seen Moorish World TV, please support this young brother in his endeavor to inspire and connect with other young people that they may do the work tomorrow that we are doing today, but he's actually doing it today also. And I ask you to support that. There's the information here. Send him an email. He does have a GoFundMe. You can go to the Young People Moorish Retreat. I'm going to do my best to put it at the bottom of every video, and you can hit the link. Go there, drop them $5 or $10. $5 or $10. There's 44 people in the chat. 44 people sending $5 to a young brother will go a long way. So please support that endeavor. That's my brother. And his father, that's my brother on the podium. I love when he go hard on the podium. Big Fuqua Bey, Islam. So family, now the next part of the article, it goes on to say that it said to join the Moorish movement, and then, oh yeah, go down. It said, keen to show off their rediscovered identity. The men wear fez, the hat. They call it a hat. It ain't a hat. The men wear fez, the hat strongly associated with Morocco. Not Moors, Morocco now. There we go. Rather than wearing the traditional hijab, women members opt to wear the turban, as if that's not our headdress. But we might let them get over that, and loose fit clothing. But because of time constraints, I want to get to the last point. But before we get to the last point, let me tell you that this, what we wear, is called a fez. It's not a hat. And we wear these because they're ours. not associated with Morocco. This is our national and religious headdress. It's ours. It's been ours. And I don't know why she want to try to make it so that we're trying to grab something that's not ours. And they saying that Muslims wear hijabs and the turban. You follow me. But what I want to do is, before we get to that, I want to share with you real quick, hold tight. Don't move, hold tight. Because if you move, it's going to be a problem. I want to share with you this beautiful sister here. This is the sister in the picture. They snatched the sister off of the website. They didn't ask her. They didn't ask her husband. Shout out to Brother Azim Hopkins Bey. They didn't ask the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America Incorporated. Shout out to Jones Bey. They didn't ask anybody. They just grabbed this off of the website, and they begin to use this to support their article. I want to make a disclaimer that my family, my brothers and my sisters of Temple 11 has nothing to do with this article. In actuality, I would like to speak for them. I would like to say that most likely they disapprove of it. But I wanted to show the personality of the queens that's in that picture for a brief second. Let's check it out.
That low self has the word. Find a way in. Giving him an obstacle. You know that when he said, praise God, I can't get in. Remind you that bill, or tell you about this situation, or tell you, I don't know what they told me, talk about me. All those things that those stuff, those thoughts they will give you. You are able to deter, hold on, let go. So we are continuing to get in tune with this property. That's not fair with this. It's a blessed meeting. Opening the way he is. Praise be to Allah. That was beautiful. And I believe that as individuals we are tested. And as a collective temple, we are tested. We are going to be tested, and you are tested to show who. You know, do you think that you can go on saying you believe and not be tried? A lot of what we deliver in Moorish America is subordinate temple of religion. We speak on high self, low self. We speak on marriage. Guess what? You will be tested on that as a temple. As an entire temple, every member, you will be tested on high self and low self. Guess what? Because you say praise the Lord. You're talking about it like that. That's right. That's right, no. Now somebody say something. You can't hold on it, but you say you can deal with it. You know, it's a ongoing process, but we're going to be tested. You know, individually and collectively. We know that, and we must work on, you know, making sure that we recognize that we are family. Family is key. Our dear champion demonstrate was family. When he shared the relationships that he has with individuals, that's nothing but family relationships.
I want to share one more. I'd be remiss if I didn't share my other sister from Temple 11. Here you go.
So you save yourself in that example, Lord, individuals see it. It's gotta be the truth they say through you. And if they see you have something in doubt, that's right. No, that's right. That's right. Listen, Lord, we gotta stand on the truth. It's a solid rock. What you gotta do is scream. Just because you may not know. Because individuals may not know. Some individuals may come in and ask you questions. You may not have all the answers to your questions. But do not let that shake your ground. Don't let it go. A Moorish call away. It's a phone call away. A Facebook message away. That's right.
And I'll stop it right there. And I agree with my sister. If you don't know, the more is a phone call away, a Facebook message away, and we can begin to straighten some of this up. But Brother Cyrus, you had something you want to add?
Yeah, I wanted to continue that thought. When we were looking at this article earlier today, it was made by one of the officials of Temple Number 11. That was, you know, where the sister comes out of by her family member, that they were, you know, that's very offensive, you know, because it was put in the context of the Moors practicing polygamy, which is outright wrong.
Oh, you jumping, brother. You
okay,
jumping.
I won't go there. I won't go there. Then what I'll do, I'll definitely say, yeah, that's Sister E. Hopkins Bay and Sister S. Hopkins Drayton Bay, and his brother Jay Boganil was in that photograph, and utilizing the photograph without getting permission of a upright Muslim. And then to use it in any type of derogatory sense, whether it be accidental or not, it's wrong, you know. So,
and you overstepped me, brother. Because
Islam, pardon, brother Hopkins.
I'm just playing. But that's what I'm going at next. I wanted to play those clips to show you that these sisters, I wanted to show the audience that these sisters, and I will upload the videos. I got permission to upload these videos, man. I got permission from my family that I can use these videos. I got permission to film in the temple and share this gospel in which that Allah has blessed them with. And so I wanted to show that as I segue into what the next line about this article about. And the article is about polygamy. The article goes on to say, and we're not going to run from it, because these sisters here are strong, married in one woman, one man household. They hold their own, and if you ever go to the temple, I'm telling you, you're going to be lifted. You can best believe that. But now, I want to go ahead and look at this point of this article, and then there's one more point, and then we're going to get out of here. The article says this. And this is for my brother Norvon Thomas. It says that polygamy is acceptable within the group. The founder himself was notable for numerous of wives. That's a lie. Let me look at the family. That's a lie.
Yeah.
That's a flat out bold lie.
Flat out.
The founder was not known for no numerous of wives. That's a flat out, bold face lie.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in all truth, if you get the death certificate of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, you will see Mary Drew Ali as his wife. You will hear that his wife was Pearl Drew Ali, but we dealing with facts that we know of. On his death certificate, which we examine on this show, it says Mary Drew Ali. And the prophet teaches us this in the Moorish Science Temple of America, that when you obligate yourself, or when two are obligated, you are to go to, if I'm not City Hall, and obtain a marriage certificate. We know to obtain a marriage certificate, in the United States, you ain't putting 2 and 3 people on there. No. That's not what we're guessing. Now, however, it goes on to say that that I gotta address this, and then I'll let brothers chime in. Then we got one more point. It says that an article in 1929 edition of Chicago Defender said that Ali had the power to marry and divorce as he wished. Family, I want y'all to look at me when I say this. What that is speaking to is the power of a minister, the power of a leader. He has the power to marry you, obligate you, in which we say in the Moorish Science Temple of America, and dissolve that obligation by being the head of the organization.
Thank you.
That's out of context. She took it out of context. He has the power as the leader and the founder, the religious father of the organization, to obligate, i.e. marry, or to dissolve the same. She's putting it in there as if the Prophet Noble Drew Ali can just willy-nilly and marry all across the board. Stuff Allah. But brother, anybody else want to chime in before we get to the last point, and then we up out of here? We're going to take 5 minutes on the last point. Come on, anybody.
10 seconds. And all the Moors know we have marriage instructions. The Prophet Noble Drew Ali says, "Take unto thyself a wife." But I just wanted to quickly, and I'm gonna concede to brother Tunic L that family that they picked out, that was the wrong Moors to use as an example for that. For one, they're one of the most beautiful families in this whole movement. You know, the dedication that they have, you know, to each other. Brother A. Hopkins Bey and Sister E. Hopkins Bey, Sister S. Hopkins Drayton Bey, and Brother M. Hopkins Drayton Bey. Those are excellent families. They just dead wrong with that. Brother J. Bogan L as well. But you also showed in that clip, you know, the difference between you know, culture and creed we were talking about. In our culture, you know, we have sisters that are leaders. We got some strong leaders in Islam, American Islam, Moorish American Islam. And that was an excellent example. Listening to Sister E. Hopkins Bey give it up from the Rosh from Islam. Peace.
Brother Tunic, you want to add in on that?
Yes, sir. I want to make the point that as it relates to the Chicago Defender, if you look at the Chicago Defender in the early days of the movement, it was very positive. It documented our first national convention. It described Prophet Noble Drew Ali as a great leader, the civic principles, it gave them honor for doing that. But once Claude Green was killed, Claude Green was a respected member of the community. You know, he's head of the Booster Club. He facilitated the use of Unity Hall with his relationship he had with Rosenwald, who was the owner of Unity Hall. So when he was killed, it angered a lot of people in the community. So you will see that the articles after his death, because Noble Drew Ali, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, was charged with ordering his death, which he never got the chance to stand trial for because he passed form before his court date. The coverage of the movement changed after that as it relates to the Chicago Defender. So that has to be taken into consideration that the Chicago Defender had a bone to pick because of those turn of events, and they produced very slanderous accounts of the movement and how with very sensationalist headlines that was post that happening. So I just want to make that clear as it relates to using the Chicago Defender as a source. We know that the Prophet had one wife first, Sister Drew Ali, Pearl Drew Ali, documented in the Moorish Guide that the whole movement recognized her as such. And he later, after he and Sister Drew Ali didn't work out for many people, you know, there are stories, but he did that marriage was dissolved. The Prophet married with Brother Foreman Bey, who was one of the original incorporators. He married his daughter with the knowledge from her father, etc. And that was his second wife, Sister Mary Drew Ali. So those were the two prophets. The prophets' two wives. They were not at the same time. They were one after the other. And again, following many customs that were common among our people back then as it relates to older men, younger girls, younger women being married. That was a very common custom back then. So we also use contemporary social mores and judge people from the 1912s or even from 500 and 600 AD. We judge them by contemporary moral or societal standards. And there's some flaw in that because you can't superimpose mores that didn't necessarily, cultural mores that didn't necessarily exist, particularly among our people in America. to try to cast it in a negative light. So that definitely was another flaw and outright misinformation, and very lazy on her part.
All right, I appreciate that, my brother. Let's start. The last thing we need to address, and this is very important. Let me again give an honor and a shout out to Temple number 11. You know, because the work that they do, I'm telling you, it's, to me, it's sort of like a museum in real time of what the Moorish Science Temple of America should be all around the country. And I'm not talking about a museum of some old stuff. I'm talking about a live and active, what it's supposed to be. And if anybody is in Philadelphia, I need to seek it out. I wish I had the address, because I put it up here. You will not ever forget that experience, guaranteed. But last but not least, it says that while the group stresses, let me screen share so we can get out here with this last thought. And I'm gonna wrap it up with this last thought right here. While the group stresses that members abide by the law, in recent years, members of the group has been associated with negative press. I'm gonna first say that most Moorish Americans that I know of that are dues-paying members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, they don't get negative press. That's first and foremost. Not the ones that I know. I don't know anybody from the Moorish Science Temple of America dues-paying member ever getting negative press in the past 5 years that I know of. Now we do have people that call themselves Moorish Americans that said they have proclaimed their nationality and they associate themselves with the Moorish Science Temple of America. Yet, with deeper research, you'll see they're not any member of any temple that is associated with the name Moorish Science Temple of America, as it relates to those that follow the specific instructions of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, like opening the meeting, having a meeting every Friday, every Sunday, and so forth and so on. The cultural particulars of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not found with these people. So it says, in 2006, a leader of a group accused of plotting to blow up Chicago Sears Tower claims to belong to the Moorish Science Temple of America. I'll let anyone touch on that, but let me finish this and we'll wrap this up. More recently, alleged members of the group have filed fake court reports. No member in the Moorish Science Temple of America filed anything, but the group has distanced itself. See, listen to this. More recently, alleged members of the group have filed fake court reports, but the group has distanced itself from those making them. Now, is the group filing the reports, or is the group distancing itself from the report, labeling them radical and subversive fringe group and paperwork terrorists? I think her really is horrible. Her wording is horrible, because one minute she's saying that these members of basically the Moorish Science Temple of America is following this stuff, and then he said the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America is disassociating themselves with this stuff. This stuff is all over the place. So we're going to take, if we can, everybody take the wrap up. Let's wrap it up on that about Moors. Let me say, the Moors Temple of America and those who are associated with the Moorish Science Temple of America does not, I say once, I say twice, and a million times, do not file fake paperwork. We don't cash in our birth certificate, neither do they, because they still online trying to sell it to you. You know what I mean? If they had that $1 million, they'd be off in the beach somewhere doing that old foolishness that they do right around the corner in their little neighborhood. But nevertheless, Moors do not plot to blow up things. Moors of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Moorish American Muslims. In our scripture, it reads that we, our words, thoughts, and deeds do not harm another. Not even thinking of harming another. We are in error. Even thinking about it. Even thinking about it.
Islam.
A Moorish American Muslim is in error. So that's not us. And if people are doing that, they are in error. But that's not us. So let's start with Brother Gabriel Hernandez L. Brother, you hit, bring us home. Then Tunaga, you hit, bring us to my brother Cyrus L. And we're gonna wrap it up. I think we did a good job in addressing line for line. Anybody? Gabriel Hernandez L. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, brother. Yeah, basically, I think tonight's demonstration has basically been a point-for-point rebuttal. You know, I think you intended first to, you know, I guess rally around a specific topic, but it seemed to turn into a bit of a dissection of a slanderous, scathing article by someone who was obviously not doing her research and not being sensitive to people in general. So, you know, for someone who is in her final year in college and getting ready to receive a degree and being able to put out articles like this, and for the record, she hasn't responded as of yet, but be for sure that I will be addressing her, and I'm sure she'll be receiving several letters and emails as a result. But definitely this particular video specifically serves as the rebuttal and the correction for her errors. So definitely, Brother Taharka, you know, if you would like to send that to her, if you'd like me to send it to her, she definitely needs to have a copy, as well as her editors, after the show is concluded. But with that, I say Islam. And, you know, again, honest to all the brothers on the panel, because they've definitely came on here and really just demonstrated the slanderous nature. I can't even put it in another way, because there was a lot of double talk, as you pointed out, Taharka. A lot of double talk, you know. So like I said earlier, you know, upon first reading it, and I think Cyrus L got the same inclination, was that it almost seemed like she didn't mean to make those errors, but after further scrutiny, it's obvious that she intended that. And you know, it seems like almost that there had to be another hand involved for her to be so young. Seems like she probably had a little bit of assistance in putting that together, because now I'm like, she obviously did do some homework and quite a bit, but it's obvious she did not go through the proper channels to get her information. And you made a great point as far as them using these images of these Moorish American Muslims without their permission, without, you know, I'm pretty sure nobody got a email or call about using their likeness, our name, etc. So this is definitely something that has to be pursued further. Islam.
Islam.
Islam, more.
Islam, my brother, is on you, brother.
Yes, sir. I just want to express my gratitude more for having me on to weigh in on this particular subject matter as relates to this article. You know, we also want to take this as an opportunity, because we know in more recent years there has been a small influx of Moroccans immigrating to the United States of America. So there's a small contingent of Moroccan Americans that are here now. So that's distinct, obviously, from Moorish Americans who were actually born here and have been here for centuries and even before. So that being said, we're open to offer dialogue so that we can foster some mutual understanding of each other. That way we can maybe form these certain ties, because it's interesting, because they are Moroccan Americans, we will find ourselves flying the same two flags. Islam. So with that commonality, and again, it's documented that we were flying the flag high over here in 1928, 27, while Morocco was under the colonization of the French. So we held that down on these shores. So there should be honor and gratitude for the Moorish Americans in that regard, not to mention supporting the national aspiration of the Moroccan people and being a staunch supporter of the Moroccan nationalist movement. So that being said, we're open to dialogue. You know, inshallah, we can form cultural and economic ties to enrich us both, because Moorish Americans have a lot to offer Morocco. You know, where I was studying some of the stats, some of the issues they have internally, we have a lot to offer them in that regard. And we know that they have some things to offer us as well. So hopefully, you know, mutually beneficial ties can be formed between the two groups, and respecting and tolerance of the individuality of both groups is definitely must be in high order for that to occur. So again, gratitude, Brother Taharka, Moorish World TV, and to all the family. Inshallah, we'll see y'all soon. Peace and love.
Peace and love. And my
Ramadan Mubarak.
Ramadan Kareem, my brother.
Islam, can you hear me, Brother Talker Bay?
Yeah, I can hear you good, my brother.
Islam, I wanted to first, I wanted to make sure to, let me see if I can, I wanted to first make sure to extend honors to my brother, Gabriel Hernandez L. You know, like, I honor the brother for his work over the past few weeks on the show. It's been very informative. I am trying to get my desktop to share. Let me know, Brother Talker Bay, when you can see it. Okay, I'm sharing now, I guess. Islam. I wanted to also, because I know we're speaking to an international audience, I wanted to remind of all the things that were mentioned. One of the things that she did not give credit to was the fact that Prophet Noble Drew Ali actually was credited. He was, he brought Islam back into the United States public, if you will, if not, brought it back to the United States, period. And this is something that he, deserves credit for, and it speaks a lot to his intention. So I wanted to throw that out. Also, in ending, I wanted to share a few books with those that are on the outside, and they're just getting a better getting a foundational understanding of what Moorish science is, and how do the so-called African Americans, we say Moorish Americans here in North America, connect to those that are in Africa or in Spain, or so these are some texts. This is a book that will help. This is entitled, of course, Othello's Children in the New World, and it's written by an author that goes by the name of Jose Pimento Bay, and it goes into a lot more detail if you want to get an honest and a sincere understanding of our claim, which is true of us, of our decent nature. This will be a good book to start with, to get an in-depth reading. It goes, generally it starts from about 1492 and goes up into around the time of the Prophet's appearance, 1913, the foundation, let me say, of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Also, there's another book. This is a book called Stolen Legacy. It's written by George G.M. James, and it also makes connections between Africa and the Americas prior to the European colonists, if you will, the settlement, and way before 1776 and the formal formation of the United States of America. And that will help as well, actually, to kind of clear up some of this, which comes off to us as contempt, which may be, kind of a misunderstanding. I would say get one of these and do the research. And the final book, for those that want to have a firm understanding of who the Prophet Noble Drew Ali is and what the Moorish Science Temple of America represents, minus a lot of legend. There's a lot of hearsay and and whatnot that's swirling around our teachings in the Moorish Science Temple of America. This is a book called Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the Savior of Humanity, written by the Grand Sheik out of Philadelphia, Brother A. Hopkins Bey. And it is a very good text for getting a solid understanding. For those, we have a lot of people outside of the movement, outside of the country, that are studying our movement, and they're getting information from poor sources. This is a very good source of information, very well vetted information. So with that, I wanted to thank you, Brother Talker Bey, for having me on the on this particular show. And Islam to my brother Latana Tunika El, Islam to yourself, Islam to the listeners. And with that, I say peace.
Peace and Islam, my brother.
Islam, Brother Sazil.
Islam.
Brother Gabriel Hernandez here, Islam Mobile.
So family, here we go. Another show in the bag. And I said that I wasn't going to jump around, move around, get all pumped up due to the fact that this is a serious issue that we must jump to when it happens. Some of these things that we see around the Moorish world, they only happened because no one had the ability, or for whatever reason, they did not do the check and balances. So when we see that people are doing all of these, what I will call scams, whether it's the UCC scam that's saying that your birth certificate is worth some money, whether it's the your status correction scam, whatever it may be. The reason why these things have snowballed, if you will, is because no one have checked these at the door. When they happen, no one said, oh no, the prophet didn't teach that. Or if they did, maybe they didn't say it loud enough. Well, here on Moorish World TV, we're going to say it loud and clear. You're not getting no money for your birth certificate. We don't do that. We don't have a right to travel. You got a right to travel with a driver's license. You are a citizen of the USA. You are a part of this system because you are here. You were born here. If you don't like it, you can expatriate. You can go somewhere, but we here. Now what we must do is become a part, take our place in the affairs of men so we can change the political construct, the economic construct, so it can work in our benefit. I said it. That's the only way we are going to change. You're not going to jump on those ship and go over there to Ghana, and if you do, you'll be begging to come back. Ice Cube said it a while ago. He said, on your block doing this and that, whatever. Send them overseas, they be begging to come back. You be begging to come back. So what we need to do is understand how to come together. And the way that we come together is look for a political agenda and an economic agenda that will bring us together. If you go to Ali's Men webpage, you will see the political agenda of Operation Proclamation, or Moorish World News might even have a link also. And it will show you how we can work together to move forward as a collective nation of people, or organized people, if you will. Now, in close, I want to say that a lot of people want to discount and try to make Moorish science, Islamism seem not so Islam. However, I'm going to screen share this with you and read something to you real quick. If you want to study the different complexities of Islam, one of the best places to look is India, Indonesia, because everybody do not study Islam or practice, or the complexion of Islam doesn't look alike. This is the website, India Opines. I think I'm saying it right. If not, you get my point. Put it in your Google and read this article if you can. Now, I'm going to start right in where they got it highlighted. Like any other sociological phenomenon, Islam too has evolved continuously, influenced by historic and geopolitical factors, which is why I see Indonesia, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Iran, I can't see what that is. So culturally different from each other, despite having strong Muslim populations. Right here, it is telling us that culturally, Islam looks different in different regions. This is an article that you might want to go and check out. It said, leave aside the classification of Sunni and Shiite, but even with Sunnis, there are various schools of thought that have evolved, many of which are moderate and oriented towards tolerance, like the Wahhabi ideology. The point that I'm making, if you go to the article, you will begin to see that at different parts, in different parts of the world, Islam is practiced different. Islam is understood differently, and we are no different than a person of Indonesia. Matter of fact, it was something in this article that jumped out to me. Let me see if I can find it real quick. It says that, let me see if I can find it real quick. In this article, it had said something to the effect that the people of India didn't even understand that Islam as or the cultural phenomenon of the jihad, the physical jihad, as some way may believe that comes out of Saudi Arabia. You know what I'm saying? So the point that I'm trying to make is a very simple point. We, the Moorish American, have the right, just as anybody else, to accept a prophet of God who we deem is a prophet of God according to universal lessons and teachers of the days of old. We have that right, and we identify Prophet Noble Drew Ali, demonstrating what is described in the Holy Quran of what a prophet is and what a prophet is to come. If it describes in the Bible what a prophet is and what a prophet is to come, and we acknowledge and recognize that, and this man that is a prophet of God has the saving power to redeem us, who are you to tell me that my Islamism is not Islam? And you have not even probably studied Islamism as taught by Prophet Noble Drew Ali or the Holy Quran of Mecca. Whatever the case may be, we are all one family at the end of the day, and we need to learn to work together. So with that, family, I know sometimes that I go at some of these groups that call themselves Moorish Americans, that call themselves being a part of the national and divine movement. But these same brothers need to understand that even when we have a difference of opinion, that doesn't change the fact that you are my brother, and that big on hand of oppression, that big boot is on all of our neck. And we should be all rallying around to straighten up the confusion.